Hello there, friends, and welcome back to the series where I'm completing an Animal Crossing island in 30 days. As always, just in case you're new here, these are the rules we've laid out for this island. And with that, it's time to jump right into day 18 on Edelwood. Alright, now my plan for today's video is, it seems kind of fitting that since we got a little sidetracked and worked on the lake view back here yesterday, I think that it's appropriate for us to... Seriously? You're mowing the yard right now? One moment. Like I was saying, I think it's time that we go ahead and work on the market area now. So, in order to save you guys, I think... Actually, I don't know. Do you guys want to follow along while I lay out the path? We'll kind of do like an as I'm building, I'll talk along, and I'll just chime in whenever I have something meaningful to say kind of video. Yeah? I think we should. I think that sounds like a good idea too. I agree. I agree. In that case, let's go ahead and whip out our handy dandy island designer here and get started on laying some path. Are you serious with the lawn mowing right now? Well, let's hope I can time my meaningful things to say around this guy's lawn mowing schedule. And guys, I am not going to make the same mistake that I did with the neighborhood in today's video. No. Today, we are going to be filling up every single patch of grass in this area with this brick pattern. There is no need for there to be a bunch of grassy areas around the shop. We have fake trees we can use if we need to add some little pops of nature in anywhere. I am watching this man walk away with his lawnmower. Thank you. And... ta-da! Oh my god, it's so awkward to do that while I have this thing in my hand. Hold on. Let's try that again. And... ta-da! What do you think of your new front yard, Shep? It's not as much yard. What do you think of your new front sidewalk, sir? Thank you. Thank you very much. I guess we'll go ahead and move on to... Do I want to fill in Olive's front yard next? Like the cafe? Or do I want to fill in all of this? Let's go ahead and fill in Olive's little spot here. Because, oh, actually, before we fill anything in, I need to do some code management. We've made it to the point in this island where I am running out of space for codes. And I'm going to have to go through and start erasing some of the ones that I haven't used anywhere. Like these little, like, awkward curved pieces for the sidewalk, literally saved for right now, I have not used anywhere. I think it's appropriate that we get rid of these in exchange for... some new custom codes, so we have some more room to work with some things. Okay, what else? As much as I love the snail, I have not used him anywhere, so I think he also has to go. Bye, friend. Bye, snail friend. I'm sorry. Oh, I feel like a horrible person. This is my green screen that I have in a room in my house. Actually, you know what? I could show you guys. Oh, there's also something I need to do. There's something very important we need to discuss. And that is the fact that in the video of us building the county fair, which my days are all blending together at this point. I don't remember which day that was. I think it was day 14. You guys let me know that I might just be a big dummy. You did it nicer than that. But if I hit A, oh my god! Literally all I had to do was hit A on the back of the standees, and it's the right perspective. This is fine. This is fine. I think that even though you guys have told me this, it is our rule that I can't go around changing the build afterwards. So I think that leaving the cushions here is a kind of funny way to memorialize the fact that I'm a little bit of a dummy. And I did not know that you could do that. I was like kicking myself reading your comments too. I was like, what? No. Surely I don't. Surely it's not that easy. It is, in fact. But I was also going to show you guys my freaking green screen room. Ta-da! Green screen room. Actually, am I gonna need anything for today's thumbnail? I think today's thumbnail is just a before and after, but we'll do something funny anyways. Let's do like ta-da! Bam! And now I can just have that, I guess. Fun fact, I had an interview today. You know, you guys, I mentioned the, I did mention the whole laid off thing, right? Yeah, I'm pretty sure I did. You know what? That's something we could talk about in today's video. You know what? We're gonna lay out all of our pathway for the market here, since the treasure island is still down, and I still can't go get things to work on the build, but it's fine. So instead, we're just gonna do some pathing and spill some tea. But yeah, so everyone buckle in. I'm gonna share with you guys the story of how I went from having what could have been a dream job scenario, like a very fun job that I really enjoyed. Maybe not a dream job, but like a good job, to no job. Okay, let me set the scene. Miss Olive, can you move, honey? Are you fucking serious right now, Olive? I have just moved to a new place with my boyfriend because he got a job offer. Prior to me being unemployed, now, my boyfriend was unemployed for an unfortunately long amount of time because the job market is awful. Unless you are applying for jobs in the field of education, because there's like literally teacher shortages of astronomical proportions going on right now. So it's a good time to be an educator. Bad time to be anything else though. So he was unemployed for a long time and he eventually got a job. Like a really nice job that he's very excited about. And he seems to be really enjoying since we've moved over here. So that's awesome. And I'm very happy for him. But after we spent a couple weeks like moving and getting everything settled in over here, I finally was able to settle down and start the job search. You know, a very fun process that everyone always looks forward to all of the time. But I applied to a few jobs. I literally made a spreadsheet. I applied to like maybe 10 jobs. And like, that's only because at first I was trying to apply for like office jobs, right? Like I wanted to be like an administrative assistant or a receptionist. Like, let me just be a girl, right? Let me just be friendly to people and then not have to take my work home with me. Because that's one of my big problems with the field of education is I feel like in most education jobs, you end up taking your work home with you, which I hate. I freaking hate that aspect, right? Like I want my work to stay at work and my home to stay at home and it to be that way and have a healthy work-life balance, right? I don't feel like that's a big ask. So after a couple like unanswered applications, I applied to work at this little daycare place, right? And this daycare, like I didn't really know what to expect because I got my degree in education and I decided respectfully, no big deal. Because a lot of places, if I was to change my mind, I can just get hired on somewhere and they'll reimburse me and like pay me, or at the very least, pay me while I'm going to college, right? And getting my licensure or doing the course or whatever the heck you have to do. Clearly, I didn't look that deep into it. But yeah, I mean, I'll save you, like, long story short, this job ends up reaching back out to me and I really hit it off with the owner in my interview. She really liked me and she literally like brought me in, like the next day. Actually, no, it was the same day I went over there to meet the director and actually like do all my application and stuff. And you know, it being a daycare job, had to go do a background check and all that fun stuff, but they brought me into this position very quickly, which was my first, like, I wouldn't call it a red flag. It was maybe like a peach flag, you know? Something seems a little off about this, but you know, I was told that a lot of the girls that were there originally had just gone back to college, with it being the start of fall, or some moved, because this happened in August, right? So, no big deal. I just kind of accepted that as fact and went on about my life applying for this position and stuff, right? I think we're gonna do some stairs here. But anyways, I get hired on at this job, literally like lickety-split, and it's going great. Like, it was a little weird to get used to at first because, like, with it being a daycare job, there were moments where, like, I had to change diapers. I had never changed a freaking diaper before. One thing to know about me is that, like, I do not like infants or very small children, like, at all. I don't know if it's just that my frontal lobe isn't fully developed yet, so that maternal instinct is just not there yet at all. Maybe it will be eventually. The goal is for it to be eventually, but for now, yeah, not so much. I think the absolute youngest I can, like, handle kids is when they get to, like, the 4 and 5-ish kind of range. Whenever we can, like, have a conversation, you know, that's not just nursery rhymes or colors. So yeah, this daycare, it was like a very informal kind of thing. There were 2 of us there at a time, and basically it was more of like a drop-in service kind of thing. So like people would just show up and bring their kids, and we're like, okay, cool, give us your information, we'll take care of them, right? For a few hours, we'll play with them. And I freaking loved this job. Like, I had this ongoing saga on my Snapchat story of like, you know, events from the daycare or like my day at the daycare, because some days it would be like I'm having a Bluey dance party with the kids that are there because they wanted to do freeze dance. Some days I've been playing hide and seek with the kids for like 2 hours, and that was my job, right? So that's what I mean by it was really enjoyable. Like, it was a job that I thoroughly enjoyed. Fast forward to our very first staff meeting. I, at this point, had not even worked a full pay period yet, like, right? Like, I hadn't even been paid. That goes for about 75% of us. Like, we're brand spanking new to this company. And that was another little interesting thing. It's like, why are there only 3 of your long-term employees here? You know, that's odd. Didn't think much of it though, because I simply am not one that likes to be involved in drama. I just wanted to move on with my life. Why does this look so weird? Yeah, that's better. But yeah, like, I am not one that likes to go out of my way to be involved in work drama or anything. Again, work stays at work, home stays at home kind of thing. So yeah, this first staff meeting that we have, the owner shows up, and she's just kind of there hanging out with us for a little bit, listening to our staff kind of just have their own little discussion about what we'd like to see for the workplace, any changes we'd like to make, or any things we'd like to have implemented. And one of the girls, actually, no, sorry, it was me. I asked a clarifying question about one of the rules in the handbook. I was like, hey, so the handbook says we have to have a 24 hours heads up for children that are under, I think it was like 24 months. I had asked, I was like, what is our policy for that? Like, if it's slow, are we allowed to accept them without a reservation? Do we need to hold them to the requirement of the reservation? What's the deal? And it started as just a civil conversation, you know? Our director was kind of like, I mean, yeah, like, I'm interested to see how you guys independently choose to handle that situation. So, like, give me your thoughts. What do you think our policy should be about handling these kind of situations as they come up? Which I thought was really nice. I was like, okay, like, you're incorporating feedback from your people. Love that. Let's talk about it. Then one of the girls chimed in and was like, this is one of the girls that had been there for a long time. And she was like, absolutely not. Like, I've been here too many times where they try to come in and do that, and then it's a whole issue because someone else has let them make this reservation so last minute before, and now they expect everyone else at the center to honor that they were allowed to do it one time, right? Like one of those, you give them an inch and they take a mile kind of things. And we were all like, just kind of like nodding in agreement, like, okay, that's a very valid take. Thank you for sharing. And that's when our owner stands up from her corner of the room where she's been sitting and listening to this conversation and screams. And like, I don't mean she raised her voice and like kind of got mad, because her whole point was that if you're not letting people bring their kids in, then how am I supposed to pay you? You know, it was a very valid point. If it had not been delivered by screaming at 100% of your staff. I am a non-confrontational girly. I do not like confrontation. I don't like people get mad. Like, I will go to extreme lengths to avoid that, right? Recovering people pleaser. We're learning, we're getting better, you know? It's a process. Me, as someone who hates confrontation, was about ready to stand up and like yell at this woman and defend my new coworker, right? Because that was an absolutely ridiculous way to react to a question being asked in a professional, like, open floor discussion kind of setting. I actually went home from that meeting, and earlier, this was kind of irrelevant, I guess, until now, but earlier in the day, our director had kind of mentioned to me, like, you know, like, we might have an assistant director position kind of coming up, so maybe keep your eye out for that. You know, maybe I'll like take you under my wing and kind of train you for that. And I was kind of like, that seems a bit fast. I've been here for all of a week and a half. It seems a little quick to just start jumping into this kind of situation, but okay, sure. But I came home from that staff meeting where our owner screamed at everyone, and I looked at Alex and I was like, there is no way I will work directly underneath this woman, right? Like, I will not work in a position where she is my immediate boss. Little did I know just how accurate that first assumption was going to be later on down the line. But we're getting there. A few more weeks go by. I'm at this job for about a month, and I'm out of town for the weekend, right? Like, Alex and I had something going on. I don't remember. Oh my gosh, we went to see the Avatar: The Last Airbender, like, symphony orchestra concert performance. So good. Like, I cried. Similarly to how I cried at the Eras tour. Like, it was that moving of a performance. Oh my god. But that's not what we're talking about right now, Ashley. Back on track. So I was out of town from, like, Thursday through Monday, right? And we actually ended up coming back into town on Sunday, so a little bit earlier than expected, but I still wasn't scheduled on Monday. Now, here's where it hits the fan, okay? I've been telling you guys this is insane. On a Monday, I get a text from our director, who, she kind of mentioned this before I went out of town, but she mentioned that she was putting in her 2 weeks notice and that she was going to be accepting a different opportunity later in October, like the second week of October, I think. So we were all super excited for her. She was very nice. We were sad to see her go, but again, I haven't been there that long. So I'm not super invested in, like, the people that were kind of coming and going, right? It's like, oh, that sucks. You're, like, one of the first people I knew when I got here, but that's okay. You're on to bigger and better things now. Well, Monday comes a full week before her last day is supposed to be, right? And she sends out a text to all of us saying that her last day came earlier than expected, and kind of hinting that the owner had something to do with it. You know, the lady that screamed at all of her employees at the drop of the hat. I don't see why she would have anything to do with this decision. But yeah, so it turns out that while I was out of town, and on that Monday, the owner, like, over the phone was screaming at the director and, like, insinuating that it is her fault that the center is going to have to close and go under when she leaves because everyone else wants to leave with her. And, like, hurling insults at her, blaming her for the whole thing, and our director just decided to walk out, which is fair. And, unbeknownst to me, like, all of the staff chose to walk out with her. All, if not most of the staff, walked out when our director walked out. And I did not know this. I was blissfully ignorant to this development. And what ended up happening after that is I was basically one of the only ones, maybe like 2 of us were still willing to work, and it was the 2 of us that didn't understand the extent of what was going on. So I accepted that I would still go in for work, and she was like, we'll have to see. If I can't find anyone else to come in, we'll just have to close the center tomorrow, and, you know, we'll have to go from there. But it was at this point when I personally got a phone call from our former director who walked out, and she filled me in on the fact that this owner is an absolutely horrible person, and the reason that so many of us were new whenever I got hired on is because this owner, like, has a history of only just using her employees to get what she can from them, and then whenever they need, like, a favor returned, you know, whenever it's her turn to take care of her employees, they just don't exist, right? Like, she's the kind of person that only sees people as a means to get what she wants. Like, I don't throw this word around lightly, but narcissistic behavior, you know, in a nutshell. And not only that, but in another shocking development that I learned in the coming days after, what happened was I was on standby to come in, and I heard all this information, and the owner wasn't able to find anyone else to come in and work with me for some reason. And she decided spontaneously, Tuesday morning, or like 8:30 in the morning, we get a text through our freaking scheduling app. The owner texted us through this app and was basically like, hey guys, we're closing, like, permanently. Some excuse about, like, with the staffing issue and our lease running out, doesn't make sense for us to continue operating at this time. Which our director had a really funny response in our personal group chat with all of us. Once she got word of this, she sent us all the link to file for unemployment, which was fucking hilarious. That was absolutely clever Comedic timing on her part. Sorry, I got a little bit confused. It was actually this afternoon when I got a call from our former director, and she told me that this owner had given her the excuse in the past that she needed to find a director or else they weren't going to be able to stay open because their lease was going to expire 6 months ago. So she was either lying then or she's lying now. Either way, not a good look. And I would also go on to find out that, and trigger warning for this discussion because it is legitimately needed here. We're going to talk very briefly about SA. And at one of the other locations of this particular daycare, there had actually been an employee who came forward with footage from these security cameras of her being SA'd, in front of preschool-aged toddlers. And by SA'd, nothing incredibly graphic, but like groping and touching unnecessarily and the like by this guy. And whenever our director told me who it was, I was like, who is this guy? I don't know who this guy is. This guy on camera doing these things to employees? The owner's husband. The owner's husband, and therefore the co-owner of this facility. Wild. Wild. My jaw hit the floor when I heard about this. And she had sent me receipts too, so like, it's not just this bias, right? Like, I've seen the camera footage, it's wild. And again, in a moment of beautiful comedic timing by the universe, later the next afternoon, so I believe we're at about Wednesday in the timeline now, our former director sent me a picture of an orange piece of paper taped to the front of the daycare's door that said they were being served by the county sheriff. So I don't know if that is related to the SA thing we just briefly talked about, or not, but I do know that they were served. So that's fun. The good news in all of this, since I was laid off, I qualify for unemployment. Yay! So yeah, that is the journey that I have been going on literally like over the first couple of days in this like challenge. This happened like, again, the first freaking week of October. So meanwhile, I was like, la-da-dee, just playing Animal Crossing. Totally unbeknownst to me that I was about to lose my job in like a flaming dumpster fire of a situation. So that's fun. I worked my last shift there and didn't even know it, which is insane. All right, well, I'm not entirely sure. I mean, we did accomplish quite a bit this episode. You know what? No, I'll backtrack. We got quite a bit done. Though I'm not entirely sure what we'll end up keeping and what we'll end up changing from the little chest run that we did here, we at least got to try some ideas out, and I know kind of what items I need to get more of as soon as I have the ability to go back to Treasure Island, which I'm really starting to worry because it's already day freaking 18, but it's fine. I need to calm down. We've got a little more than a week left, and I think that as long as we can get most of like the general scope of the builds done, I could realistically come back at the very end, go get some of the things I need from the Treasure Islands once they open up, and then kind of maybe we spend a couple episodes just going back and like facelifting these areas, which it's kind of hard now because now I feel like we might almost be going back over our rule of not changing them, but like we haven't called them complete by any stretch, so I think we're still okay. But as always, if you've made it to this point in today's video, thank you guys so much. I appreciate it. And please don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, all the YouTube jazz on your way out if you want to stay up to date with this absolute chaos. I fear that this challenge will go down in a fiery crash, but we're hoping that it won't. We are praying that it won't. We are manifesting a beautifully completed island, gosh dang it. And with that, I will see you guys in tomorrow's episode.